Show the ad. So there's an ad which suggests that the stream is at least booting back up.
Yeah.
Show the ad. So there's an ad.
Okay,
which
yeah,
suggests that
we
the stream
are
is at least
here
booting back
again.
up.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Okay, I don't know what's the last thing that you guys heard, so I will reiterate the last few things, which is we're going to take questions about anything you have on modding, and we will go questions about anything you have on modding. Not mute by default, I guess not. Okay. Okay. Back again. No echo, I hope. Echo.
It's fixed.
Okay, let's wish list for minor polishes. No, that's not what we want. Windows, stop deciding for me. Okay. Let's see. I think it was called like mods to devs or modders to devs. Whoop. Request from modders to devs. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna keep looking at the chat, and in the meantime look at things that were asked here, and we're gonna say how to do those things without us being involved, hopefully, and if not, we'll estimate whether this is something we can do for 1.1, maybe. So, styling the world generation screen, that is already there. The biome name appears as the class for the whole screen, and you can use that in your CSS. Water level is hard-coded. Changing it to be customized by JSON would be nice too. I don't know if that is as straightforward as it sounds. I wonder if you can simply adjust the height of your terrain, like the actual terrain generation levels, to accommodate for that.
I think water's put in later, isn't it? Like a lake is plopped down on top of terrain.
I really don't know. We could actually take a look at the code and figure it out. Well, that's a lot of stuff open. World generation. I think it's in Landscaper. Landscaper Lua. Let's see. Water. Yeah, place water bodies. That is called. That is. Let's see where it's called. Do we have a command line? Grep r under source. This one is possible to listen for the biome and overwrite only when necessary. Not sure which one you're referring to. Possibly the water bits.
Actually, I just thought of something. We don't have a. It doesn't matter. We probably don't want it. But landmarks can't be placed on all biomes. They have to be specifically called out.
Yeah. So there was a similar thing with seasons, where the season model switcher thing, where you have to specify the model variants per biome. I added a thing where you can just say asterisk and it will match any biome. We could add that to the landmarks. It's pretty straightforward. However, landmarks are kind of specific to the biome.
Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Yeah, you can always mix in. If you're a modder who's adding a biome, you can mix in your biome name into the existing.
If one person does, can the next person also do it?
Yes, you can mix in many times.
Okay.
The other way around is not as straightforward. If you want to add a landmark that places into any biome, regardless whether it comes from the mod or not, you can't do that right now. You have to either know the biome in advance, and it's fine to put like 7 biomes in your landmark without, even if you don't have that biome mod installed. Oh, Bruno Supremo says landmarks and scenarios without a biome filter will spawn in any. That is true.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So probably Bruno should be giving this talk. He has certainly more experience in modding than we do.
Okay. I should have made some of the landmarks differently then.
Rabbit statues are like that. That is true. Rabbit statues don't have a filter. Cool. Next up.
Do we finish the water one?
Yeah, basically, it's probably possible, not super straightforward, and you can probably get the same effect by just changing the levels of your terrain. Service to switch between two models in game. So there's a lot of there are many components that do that based on various things, like the resource node component switches it based on a whether it's harvested or not. The seasonal model switcher
Evolve.
Well, evolve
Evolve's more than that.
it replaces the entity completely. But basically, it's super easy to create a new component that switches. It's like a few lines of code.
Telscade, know that Max's tattoo is not real, but mine are.
Yes. A button in the UI for a user-friendly way to inform that this can be done to this entity. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. Adding a button is just adding a new command type, and it will automatically appear on the unit frame when you select that item.
If you take a look at the treasure chests, I think I just added one there from your suggestion. That worked well.
Treasure chests have a loot. Do they have something else now?
It's the loot.
Oh, it's the loot one,
command button.
Yeah, so the loot one is very simple. It's just a thing that I believe just kills the entity and results in its loot being dropped.
Yep.
Okay. Being another use for the harvest tool. So another use for the harvest tool to switch models, that's kind of what the resource component or renewable resource component does, which is the thing that is used for berries. So when you harvest a berry bush, the berries disappear from the model. You can do it so that it has an empty drop, like loot table, and that way you can still harvest it. It will switch the model, and it will work this way. Builds to replace the standard value line in the manifest.
I don't know what that means.
Worth for entity over time. The net worth or the sell value of things.
To change over time?
Yeah. I don't think so. The core problem with that really is that we don't want to send info about every instance of an item to the UI, because that is very expensive, performance-wise. That's why the UI just loads the static data. You could totally implement that, but it's not as straightforward as you change an attribute on a thing and it will automatically update. You will need to add support to the shop UI, and you would need to add support to a bunch of other places for it to actually look at a custom value for the worth of something. You could probably implement the same thing in terms of gameplay by having an item evolve over several different forms, and the higher forms being worth more. Why isn't anyone dressed up as a bunny? I don't know. I told them to dress up. No one else did, so oh well. The harvest has a refresh thing, and it will switch the model back. Yes, you can do that. You can also set that refresh to 17 years, and it will never switch back in practice. It's all about smoke and mirrors. Is there ever going to be the ability to edit already built buildings? No. At least not from us. It is it's possible to mod it in theory, but it's not an easy thing. Yeah.
So I was having problems with this today. You can save a template, destroy the building, place the template again, and then adjust it how you want.
Yeah, and you can also build buildings on top of buildings.
Yep.
Like when I build, I typically build something simple and then add decorations and like little embellishments and whatnot as separate buildings.
Yep.
repeat path. Okay, this is gonna be good, I'm sure. Solid non-hacky way to register Lua functions to be called once per frame in any game state, including the menu. You can always do on-game loop. That should work in anywhere. Megashop, could a pub sub model help any with the entity update cost problem? So our event system is basically a pub sub system, and was recently moved to C++, so it's pretty performant. Entity update cost problem. So if you're referring to the thing that we discussed earlier about updating the net worth of an object, not really, because I mean you could do something similar where you subscribe to changes in the value of a thing and get notifications about it, but that's a lot of new code, and it's totally possible. It's just, is a feature like that really worth that much work? And this team has historically been not so great at those decisions, where it's like we set our eyes on, we want this feature, and spend way too many resources, at least in my opinion, implementing that feature without considering too well whether we could have solved it in an easier way. Stonehearth changed the guard while I was taking care of customers. Welcome back. That works in theory, but I built a huge wall and deleted some small path that was unrelated but on the same build portion, and boom. Yeah, you should generally be careful about whether different parts of the things that you're building are actually the same building. It's pretty it's not super obvious, like the UI for that. So generally, like as you're building a big thing, always keep an eye on which building you're editing, and hit new building whenever you want a new one. Every day I can help someone get away from cigarettes is a good one. Okay. Update on the macOS version. The branch passwords Perseverance should work for you now. Yep. Okay. I don't think we're playing on a Mac here, but if anyone is playing on a Mac...
They just wanted us to say it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe... Yes, if you are trying out the Mac version, use Perseverance with an A. That is the last part. That's hard to describe the spelling. Anyway, Perseverance, Perseverance. Use that as the beta code on Steam, and you will be able to access the macOS branch. Someone update to Moobot. It's one.
Yeah, Moobot says early access.
Yeah, I've seen that. Who owns Moobot? Stephanie? Okay. We'll tell Stephanie after. This is the last stream, so it's kind of pointless. Yeah. Maybe there'll be other streams later, but we'll see about that. It wasn't configured correctly for players who got the game with a key. Okay.
The Mac thing.
Okay. You will need two models. This is a reply to. Wouldn't the refresh just make it stuck at the depleted model without a change to switch it back? No. I mean, if you want to switch it back, you have the refresh time. If you don't want to switch it back, then set the refresh time high. You'll need two models, and then set via JSON the second model is depleted, and now how long it needs to be to replenish. For example, look into the berry bush. Yeah, exactly. There is a replenish time somewhere there that will restore it. Be careful though, if you're using that and the model switcher at the same time, those will conflict. Both of them will switch to whatever they're set to. Or you want to switch your model back at will, you will have to write a bit of Lua to do that. It's not... The problem is there is like a threshold between just modding JSON and modding Lua, but this is a simple enough task that someone who does not know Lua can learn enough Lua to get this to implement this in a couple days, is my estimation. I'd love another stream. I don't think we have any planned, but who knows? Maybe during the 1.1 release or leading up to that, the people who are remaining here will do some streams. What projects are you guys going to be working on now? My project for the next few months is vacation, because I'm leaving Riot. The rest of the team, it's too early to talk about that. Do you have added a renewal time? So that's about the Bush model switch. Is that an actual tattoo? No, it is not an actual tattoo, but it sure looks like it, right? I could see at least one stream a month for just updates for bugs and fixes and see how y'all are doing till 1.1.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll tell Stephanie about that and see what she thinks. The evolve component also changes entities and they won't turn back. Otherwise, use a custom component. Yeah, a custom component is generally the answer to most things about like, oh, this almost does what I want, but I need that extra. Just make a copy of the thing that does 90% of what you want and look at how it does things and copy it.
The landmark system was originally the evolve system.
Yeah. But it's like, it's the best intro to programming, in my opinion. Like, that's how I got started. I wanted to mod Morrowind, and I got like some scripts that did almost the thing that I wanted, and but didn't do the thing that I wanted. So I just like, I guess I'll learn a bit.
Tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, tweak it a little bit, and then you just, oh, I guess I'm programming now. So I would definitely recommend going down that route. And components are completely modular and pretty straightforward. You don't need to know a lot of the other systems unless you want to use them. It is fake. Yes, it is fake. Cool tattoo. Thank you. I'm with Michael Handy for the streaming thing. Yeah, once a month could be done. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, back to.
I have streamed a lot. Yeah, but they're all recorded already. I
Yep.
did the last 2 streams actually.
Yep. Those streams were about landmarks.
Yeah.
Let's see. Allow loading of DLLs. Nope, that is a security nightmare. If you're able to place a DLL as a mod, you are literally able to do anything to the player's machine, including stealing their credit card, etc. So that is not going to happen. You're like, I know you have hacked together stuff like repeat pan, and in case you're here or when you're watching this video later, I'm replying in second person because it's your post. Point is, you can do it. We're never gonna support distributing DLLs. And because of that, any extra work to actually support loading in any way that is not hacky is not gonna happen. Fine-tune animations per script. We do have, let's see. So, a hacky way to do that would be to write out the JSON and load it back. I'm sure that's not going to perform anywhere near well enough, unless you have like 7 possible animations that you want to switch between, and you write them out and then load them one or whichever you need. That could work. Additionally, we do have one hook which is rotate these bones towards that point. It's used for turrets and such. You could probably hack that by having like a bunch of objects each with 1 or 2 bones and then rotate those.
That'd be painful.
It would be
Well, it
painful.
depends what you want to do.
Yeah, but like a windmill, that could totally
That
work
could
for a
work.
windmill.
Yeah.
Modify the bones per script to... Yeah, so set bone rotation, we don't have a direct set like that, but we do have rotate this set of bones towards that rotation, and you can only have 1 active on a rig at a given time, I believe. And you can also set pose overrides, I believe. Say like, okay, whatever animation you're playing, you still, until I say otherwise, you're going to maintain this pose.
Can I type?
Yes. Whoop. If you could start developing on Stonehearth again, what would you do differently? Everything. but really, not write a custom engine is probably the number one thing, because a lot of time was spent on that could have been spent on actually building the game. The AI system is a nightmare. In particular, like, there's a lot of systems in Stonehearth that, in my opinion, are pretty decent. The AI system is impossible.
The what system?
The AI?
AI.
Artificial intelligence. It's tiny code-wise. It's like 10,000 lines of codes, but it's just so complicated, and uses fibers, which are like threads, except all happening on one core, and it's just a mess. Landmarks really improve the world, even the smallest one. I agree.
Thank you, Bruno and Michael.
They are awesome. My boyfriend is a YouTube streamer who is very reluctant in playing this game because of past bugs and scrapped ideas. I believe Malley said message him.
Yep.
I think it got cheaper now with the... Yes, it is now $20 instead of 25.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully we can take Malley's Caves landmark and actually have entryways that make them blend in with environments with Ace.
That's actually really easy. That's not the problem, and that's not why I didn't do it. I got your message after I made stuff, but the reason I didn't do that on my own was because, say you have some really cool, impressive cave system, because of the way our Fog of War works and the way we like reveal scenarios, or landmarks can be revealed in that way, you would like place down your banner, you'd see the front of the cave, and then you would see all the rest of the cave too, and there's like no exploration. So like we could do that, but like it's not interesting at that point. Like we could, okay, let me rephrase that. It's not a cool thing you find, it's a huge biome, and that's like a totally different amount of work. So yeah, that's why I didn't pursue that. I also just ran out of time.
So Bruno, didn't you say at some point that you were looking into having caves that are like biome level?
We did miss a question about finding us on social media. I am not on social media. What about Stonehearth? Are we?
I think there's a Stonehearth Twitter account. I have never actually used it.
I haven't either.
I think Discourse is the best way to contact us, and you can look in the credits for our real names and search by them if you want to stalk us.
Please don't.
Bruno's trying,
No.
allegedly.
So I agree with Bruno. Cave exploration is really only good in first person like Minecraft. I think we could do it. We would have had to devote a lot of time and effort into it.
I don't think it's quite that drastic. I don't think you need to have first person to explore. Like, there is a lot of dungeon crawlers that are third person and isometric.
I'm not saying we should have done first person. I'm saying I think we could have pulled it off third person. We just didn't.
I agree. It's just a lot harder when you have a full 3D world that you can destruct and you can move your camera wherever you want. Bruno Supremo says one idea is to create it incrementally. Yeah, the current landmark system is not set up to do that. However, it should not be too hard to modify that.
Yeah, you could totally do that.
Cover it up with rocks, but to show it there. Yeah, but you could still do X-ray and see it, right?
Yep. And you can right now. So I did put caves into the game. And if you're sneaky, you can find them. I hid them the best I could. But they
haven't been able to find them.
Well, they're also reveals. So like, just like ore that's in the world, like you can't just like search through the ground and find ore because we hide it from you. But you can once you like find it the first time. So yeah.
Let's see the things that we missed. No Instagram. Yes, I'm pretty sure we're not on Instagram or Facebook. As in Stonehearth isn't. Guess I don't really have a question, but this whole thing have been pretty interesting to follow. Guess I just want to thank you guys for making a nice game.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Like boulders that fell to cover the entry. Yeah, that's also kind of like it invites you to explore that bit.
Yeah. The cool thing about landmarks is now that they're a thing, modders can go just absolutely crazy. We were just watching. Did you see the stream last hour? Like Angelo and Justin playing in the Box of Box.
I caught the beginning of it.
The crazy like
huge
head thing with the spikes. Like you guys can do crazy stuff now. So
Yeah,
I'm
that was
excited to
pretty
see
cool.
what you do with it.
When the party reaches a specific area, it reveals more.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, that reminds me of the cannot venture forth before gathering all your party thing with like
Oh.
the Baldur's Gate and
Yeah,
Planescape
yeah.
Torment days. Old Warcraft exploration, like over the top, like mining now. Yeah, the Warcraft 3 sort of style of revealing Fog of War.
With the black fog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you like walk through the cave and it reveals the next stuff.
Yeah.
It could be cool. It's harder to do in 3D. Third person. We talked about that. Caves now. Yeah, they're not like huge cave systems that are their own biome. Just little bits. Yeah, it's as Bruno says. The cave experience is a lot easier when your camera is locked to your character, rather than to like free movement. Spellblade lost so much of her life to Stonehearth. Well,
Hopefully in a good way.
yeah. There's
I guess in a way we've
There's
lost
worse-
a lot of our life to Stonehearth as well.
that's true. There's worse
Worse
ways
things,
to lose years of your life. The old Warcraft RTSK exploration was done the same way. Yeah, I enjoyed that back in the day. Warcraft 3 was a good game. Warcraft 2 was probably the first game I modded.
I never played 2. I played
2
a
is
lot
pretty
of 3.
neat. It's ancient. It's like 94, 95, I think, but it's really good. It was a journey. I remember every month looking forward towards the next alpha release. Yeah, I actually joined pretty late. I played it about 2 years ago, and then I joined the team about a year ago. So I was late as a player and late as a developer. I've been with the game for so long but never came to a stream. I'm sad because this is my first and last stream.
No, the good news is all the streams are on YouTube, and a bunch are on Twitch too. Like you can look through our videos, but like I think all of them are on YouTube.
Yeah, it's not the same as live, especially now that they're ended, but
Yeah.
it's certainly... There are some that are actually like informative and useful because like the landmark streams that you did recently, for example, if someone wants to make a landmark, those can act as a reference.
Yeah, if anyone's interested in art specifically, I've done one on rigging, I've done one on animation, I think I've done one on VFX, maybe not. Which
You've
is
definitely
bad
done
for me.
some that...
I've done VFX on
Yeah.
the stream, but I don't know if I've done a tutorial on it.
Corrupt Heart, gotta go eat lunch. Bon appetit. Props to the person who did those alien landscapes, by the way.
Alien. Oh,
Box of Vox? That would be...
He just responded.
Andrew
Andrew
Vox.
Vox,
Right here is him and Olgo. Did most of that, if not all of that. I don't know if they had other collaborators. Rainbow Croissant. I missed the Rainbow Croissant. Now I want to go back and watch and find the Rainbow Croissant.
Is it the big rainbow from the Lucky Day?
I don't know. That doesn't
What do
look
you mean
like...
by croissant?
I was there for the first stream when it was just 2 people. Wow.
Tom and Tony?
Yeah, that's dedication. Cool. I think we've caught up with the chat now, and we can look at stuff here. It was an accident with the new effects. Oh, I remember when we added the new emitter stuff, emitter shapes, and you did a stream with the with like trying it out, and one of them ended up being a rainbow like spiral thing.
I don't remember that.
I remember that.
it breaking.
I remember I was watching the stream and it was like, oh, we never intended this effect. That is weird.
Michael Handy, there aren't any art symbols of Sid. I'm sorry, I thought I posted on the discourse because I remember that question.
Yeah,
I don't think that anything
I
exists.
believe Stephanie said that the sword is the symbol of Sid, even though he
the one in
wasn't.
the shield?
Just generally as a
Oh,
the sword is considered to be a symbol of Sid, which is weird to me because Sid, the whole point of Sid is he brought peace by negotiating with the orcs.
I think
which
the
is-
idea is that that's his sword he gave up. because he was a great warrior,
yeah.
and then he gave it up and
That
decided
makes a lot
to
of
be
sense.
peaceful. Yeah.
So now that's canon, if you'd like. Yes.
Oh, I do remember that crazy thing. You were trying to make it spin in different axes because you gave me the offset, and then I could rotate the like emitter, and then it like turned into this weird rainbow thing that just like spun like crazy. It was super trippy. I remember that now.
I think they're all gonna be back later for the group thing. Yes. At 6
to 7.
6 to 7, we'll all be around. How are we gonna fit in this room?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know that one.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe we'll like trade out.
Yeah, perhaps.
Tap in.
Only thing I honestly wished was added was for the golems to create attack defense column that can be used as soldiers. That was my plan until someone told me not to do that.
It wasn't only me.
Well, it was mainly.
Good news is that should be relatively easy to do. Yeah. Just look at how the golems are set up, and that should totally be moddable.
It is extremely easy to mod that in. I remember.
If we had time, I would still add.
Okay, back here. Client only and server only mods. I remember this discussion basically to be able to run a mod that only is required to run on the server and not the client. I don't think the complexity there is worth it. I would just say you can, in the mod, if you want your mod to be a server only, you can in the mod check whether you're running on the server or the client, or like whether you're running on the client who owns the server or another client, and based on that make whatever decisions you want, whether like to show the UI by default or do any other run any other code. Okay. Still hopeful that there will be some universal way to identify mod recipes. As we've discussed before, I answered this I think on a stream before. I don't think we should be telling people how their recipes should look. For example, I don't think the people who are behind Ace want their recipes to look different from the game because they want it to fit into the game. So each modder can themselves decide where they want their signature or whether they want the icons and other art to fit into the game as if it was not a mod.
Bye, Relish.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the stream with us.
Good night, Relish. Let's see. I have no modding skills, so I hope someone is able to create attack golems. Well, this would be a great intro to modding.
Yep.
There is a guide. This does not require any code. It's just edit some JSON files, and JSON files are data. They're just like lists of things.
You can even use the attacks that we already have.
Yeah. In fact, the way I think implemented it originally as a test was to take the existing huge stone golem and just make it craftable and give it like the golem block thing. The block of code that makes something a golem,
Gotcha.
which is like the placement. So, like JSON is really just nested lists, so anyone can write them. Sure, you'll need to read up on what all of these things mean, but it doesn't require any skills that a player doesn't have.
So just to put in my 2 cents, Max is a crazy good engineer, but I'm a terrible engineer. I'm an artist, and he's totally right. Like, anyone can learn JSON. It's super easy. Lua is much harder, but it's really easy to mess with JSON.
Let's see, Pixel Sauce. Also, I think with all the extra help from golems, you could just change jobs to soldiers for your now free Hearthlings. Yeah, in general, now, like, golems can take care of a lot of the repetitive stuff, like harvesting and restocking, so your people can either specialize in things or you just don't need as many people. Let's see. The Demon Dwarf. One thing that would have been nice is to be able to choose the patrol path for groups of soldiers. There is a mod for that. Make the golems look like the statues of knights with no idle animation, so they double as statues when they're not fighting. That sounds like an efficient use of resources. Radiant Malley. I did get this in the landmark. let's open this thing.
Oh, don't be a bug, don't be a bug. Oh, okay. So that is just because sometimes landmarks place in water. Max did his best to fix it, but it still happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But just think of it as like an ancient piece of stone that's mystically placed in the ground. And
Yeah, it's the same density as water, so it floats in weird locations.
cool thing is if you mine that out, like the ground around it, it is under the ground still. So like there is a whole statue in there.
Yeah, there is a buried statue of Gary, or symbol of Gary. Enter here.
I don't think anyone knows Gary.
Gary is the Titan, or at least the code name for the Titan.
Yeah.
Huge golem guard would be amazing. Yeah, and easy to mod in.
Bruno said, or someone said something about like golems, geomancers and engineers working together. Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, the engineer currently doesn't make anything for the geomancer.
Engineer needs some love for sure.
Yeah, engineer usage is pretty limited. Huge golem guard made of like 6 blocks of stone holders, and the golem heart would be amazing. Sure. That was the question for crafting stations. I'm the one designing the new stations for each kingdom for Ace. That's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. What was the question for crafting stations? I don't know what question that is. I'll do some research. Then I always wanted to get into modding, but I didn't know if I was able to.
We have a...
There is a modding guide. You can just search for Stonehearth modding guide. It's in its infancy right now, but it does cover JSON already. So you should be able to get started using that. By the way, you can skip my big long next post if you want, at least to the end. No worries, just I wanted to get my thoughts out. Okay. This one. Okay. A feature.
Stone floats.
Yeah. As we said,
there's no way to control that.
It's there's always a way. But just like the
amount of work.
Yeah, the amount of work for that is not something that we thought was worth it given our super accelerated timeline.
Yeah, the question was, do we want landmarks that have that problem, or do we not want landmarks? That's what it came down to. So.
Yeah. Insert craft order. Yeah, you can basically... there is a move order command, so you can just call that after you add order, or reorder command, or whatever. Just look in showteamworkshop.js. It calls all of that stuff to manage orders. This, I think, no longer applies because we rewrote the crafting UI code. Not so much rewrote, but changed it significantly.
Since July 8th?
Yes.
Huh.
It's much faster now.
Nice.
Yeah, App Stonehearth Team Crafter view does not exist anymore. Unit frame plus. So, biggest modding requests. At the very least, basic guides of how to create and modify Stonehearth style Ember views. That should end up in the modding guide. Generally, it's subclass the app.view, or if you're gonna have a container of other views, subclass app container view, and then just implement initialize, did insert element, will destroy element, and everything else is just JavaScript. And handlebars is the HTML part of it. It's the templating language that we use. Even I forget the specifics of handlebars syntax because it's weird, and like binding things has this bizarre cases of... Anyway, point is, open up any of our HTML files of like bigger views and search for something that's kind of like what you're trying to do and mimic that. It doesn't sound great, but that's gonna get you results. Take a single complex Ember view and associate Lua references and really break it down to comment the heck out of it. The Ember views are very modular, but more concretely, they're not really associated with any specific Lua most of the time. They use endpoints, which can be on the server or the client, and if they're on the server, it calls the client the C++ client, and the C++ client calls the server and makes its way. The answer makes its way back all the way to the UI.
Good. Sorry.
Yeah. Of course, complete MSDN style object model reference, most of which can be auto-generated with scripts. Yeah. I know Angelo really wanted us to generate scripts from our or use scripts to generate a reference from our Lua-bind code. It wasn't straightforward, and he never actually got time to look into it. It might still happen. I can't attest to that, but it's possible. It might still happen.
Real quick, Psycho Troops asking about what the Magma Smith was initially able to do. Create. Can I?
Oh, yep. Go ahead.
This is what they could do. They can make the forge and they can make the workbench, which is just stolen from the blacksmith. Like, you can find old stuff. Where'd you go? You can find like anything. What else did we make and not make? I don't know if there's another job. Animal Trainer's probably not. Oh, it is. It's sort of here. Like, there's more work on this that's just not there. But like, there's the architect. Anyway, there's a bunch of like old stuff that was never used, just because they made it and put it in and never went back to flesh it out. But like all the classes used to be like, I think the engineer was nothing for a long time, and then they added the stuff that the engineer has. We just never went to do that.
There were discussions and some designs, but nothing ever was actually made it into the game.
Yeah.
Well, we lost a bunch. Okay. You can get patrol points mod. Yep. And that is getting rolled into Ace. Cool.
It's already rolled into Ace, they say in a second.
So Journey, thanks for everything. I'm out to the rest of the stream. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us today. We're already rolled into Ace. Is there a place to download Ace? Because I know from our error reporting console that people are using Ace. I don't know how to get it though. Is it on that?
I would guess it's on
this workshop.
Workbench.
Really?
Workshop, yeah.
Let's look at it. Workshop. Ace. It is not here. Yeah, I don't think it is. It's pretty early on for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks should post links and things. Was the Magma Smith initially able to do? Yeah.
That's what I just said.
We just discussed that. Rise starts with clay, so it's hard to make them at the start. Not sure what's that. With some persistence, Stonehearth is running in my iMac.
Nice.
Congratulations. It only took you about 4 years of complaining. Okay, I wish RC had access to archers too, but only as soldiers, not hunters. I believe they certainly do have access to archers, just not...
They don't start as archers.
Yeah.
There's actually a slight problem that we didn't finish, or didn't bother fixing, because it makes the Northern Alliance harder to play. But having archers from the beginning actually raises your military score higher.
I did reduce their
military
military
Did you reduce that?
score,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. I'm glad you
It's not.
touched it.
It's still like
More,
but it's much less than it was before.
good, because it was really rough.
Yeah.
And
actually,
the problem with that is it like calls higher encounters faster than you're really capable of dealing with it.
So the other thing is, I remember when we first released Northern Alliance, a lot of people were complaining about not being able to get Footman. And in Northern Alliance, if you don't know, the Footman is promoted from the Archer. And even though you can't craft bows until you get to the Carpenter, if you start with one of the loadouts that has a bow, you can get an Archer and then craft a stone sword, promote that Archer to a Footman, create a new Archer with the bow that was dropped, and like basically continue that pipeline, so you end up like 5 Footmen and an Archer before you ever touch the Carpenter.
Yeah.
So that's one way to go about building up a military in the Northern Alliance.
They just have to earn their licks through archery before they're allowed to pick up a sword. They have to like earn their stripes or whatever.
Yeah, first you're a hunter, and only then can you join the military. The workbench is a nice model, though. Okay. Oh, the workbench for the magma smith?
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
I'm not sure. Ace is currently adding a lot to the engineer. Water pumps, gates, decoy trap.
Water pumps, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I believe Paul posted a picture in his modding corners thread that was really cool. It was like a water pump with a fountain thing.
Nice. Already working?
Well, it's a screenshot.
Okay. That's cool though.
Decoy trap, training dummy. I know about the training dummy because one of the error reports that we got was like Stonehearth Ace does not have a task group training. So I'm like, okay.
The water pumps actually should be really easy because the whetstones, dry stones, like all you do is like put a number. It just needs to collect how much it's removing or adding or remove from it. Like that should be simple.
Yeah, that seems straightforward. The water system, for all its problems, is pretty stable now. It's not performant, but it is stable and it's very realistic in a sense. So what you would expect happen physics based, like if you're thinking of it in a physics way, it probably works that way rather than like a special rules like it propagates over cells or anything like Minecrafty. Michael Handy, the starting soldier for C, referring to archers. It's easy to mod loadouts. We created special loadouts for NA because they are the only ones who can attack animals, and that was to make them more different and interesting than the other, or like have their own special feel. Yes, let Angela know about any Mac issues. Last time the training dummy worked perfectly. Awesome. Ace is currently unstable, but we have a GitHub. I don't think it's on the workshop, or it shouldn't be. Cool, there is the GitHub. Nice. 12 days ago, so I'm guessing there is another unstable work. Cool. 14 hours ago. Oh, you guys are active. Cool, I'm really happy to see that. I will probably drop by once in a while.
Cool.
If you're lazy... there's an actual link to a mod if you want to try it out. Water pump is working and pretty moddable. Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for launching the Mac version today. That's all thanks to Angelo and Gabe, who's a writer who's not on this team, but who is excited about Mac, I guess, and helped Angelo get all of that stuff ported over. Okay.
Somebody just asked a question.
Stonehearth, is it possible to add an option to a recipe to be kingdom specific so I can make the wooden petrol points just show up in Ascendancy without a campaign? No. There isn't an easy way to... you can do it in a weird way. The same way we do it for RC and NA, where you actually create a new job with a new recipe list that mixes the original job in, and then you create the new recipes just for this new job. So like the RC Potter is not the same job as the Ascendancy Potter or the NA Potter, and you can have custom recipes for that job. I would advise you against that because that breaks a bunch of things, like you can't re-embark with these recipes. I would definitely suggest doing it through the campaign because it's a little more wordy, but it's very it's much more flexible and reliable. And as Bruno Supremo says, you don't have to lock them out, just create them. Create wooden ones for the carpenter, clay ones for the potter, and stone ones for the mason, and all three races will have starting ones for their preferred crafter. Cool. Useful for template creators. If the template menu had some sort of categories, so now we have mod labels for the building templates, but not actual categories. It's pretty easy to mod that UI to make it your own. I think someone should do it.
You can also search by mod, which is not what you're asking for, but it's almost there.
Yeah. Next up. think there will be a vast amount of mods adding variants of existing things like furniture. Yep.
There already are.
Yes, there is already. So, this stuff. I agree. I think... So if we had more time, something that I really wanted us to do is to look at the whole crafting UI and redesign it for better user experience. It is very modular, so I hope that someone will go and actually redesign it to be more useful and to handle the huge amount of recipes that you get when you play a lot of mods. The slightly good news about that is, since this post was made, the performance of that menu has been much improved, so it should handle hundreds of recipes easily now. Cole is proud that this game has reached this state. I'm glad you are. Thank you.
Thanks, Cole.
Okay, starting crop plus JSON was reformatted to allow specifying starting crops based on biome as well as kingdom. You've already made a mod to make it possible, so I think that is something that could be rolled into Ace, since assuming Ace makes it to be stable, I would expect this sort of like infrastructure stuff to be included in there, and other mods will just say, okay, we only work on the Ace version, and then anyone who wants to use that mod can subscribe to Ace. An issue with traits would affect Hearthling appearance, where the appearance changes do not get applied correctly when the Hearthlings are created on the Embark new game. I'm pretty sure Kaimanke has already fixed that somehow, because he has outfits and even a goblin trait. Have you tried his mod?
No, but I saw it on yours.
Yeah, Kaimanke's traits is like really cool. It's really well polished. I pretty much have played with it since it was released. It has like traits like, oh, this person is a cleric from the start, and they have like a custom outfit, custom talisman, but they're limited in some way. I don't remember what the limitations are, but it's cool. It's like, oh, this Hearthling is a goblin, this Hearthling is a barbarian.
Yeah.
There's this Hearthling is a pacifist who can't be promoted to combat classes. That kind of thing.
That's cool.
It's really cool. Anyway. So I can probably look into that. Kaimanke, if this is something you still care about and you see the stream, direct message me on Discord and I will look into it. More control over traits as a whole would be amazing. The immigrant-only tag for the beard is a long story, but I do think you can always do something hacky, like in your trait initialization, say, I'm gonna look at this Hearthling. If they're not the right kingdom or not the right whatever, I'm gonna remove myself and add a new trait. Which should, in theory, work. It's pretty hacky, though. I don't think right now we can prioritize anything like custom trait selection logic for 1.1. Stonehearth, half goblin. Well, they look like a goblin, and okay, half goblin it is. Let's see. Okay, we already saw that. I was doing something wrong because I could swear to you that I've gotten it while embarking before. Oh, the beard, the epic beard trait. I also have seen it pop up as a starting trait. I think it's a mod that makes it so, but I'm not sure. Is there any way we can get the ability to specify a non-default name generator for a kingdom? Not right now. You can. The current name generator allows you to have a first and last name, I believe. You can do something like
override that file. Just replace it with your own name generator.
the actual name generator code is shared between everyone, so you can't you can replace it, but it's like it's
I
going to
just mean
conflict.
the JSON, like where all your names are. Can
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
replace that?
You can write your own names, but you can't have like a name generator that is not just like here's a list and here's a list and choose one from here, choose one
Gotcha.
from here. You could do something like so when you specify a new population, you also specify the roles for the people that spawn. Like typically it's just male and female, but like orcs have orc and kobold and whatnot. So that points to a JSON file for the entity. In that entity, you could have a component that, when created, watches the name and generates its own name and sets it. It's not very hard if you know Lua, and I believe Avarian knows Lua. Kind of, I've seen them post something about Lua, so I think they do. But yeah, that's how I would implement it to be compatible with anything. Should get a hold of Kia and get Kai Monkey, I assume, get him to make trades for Amber Clan. Would love to really bring Niles the Geomancer to life with a scar across his eye and a nick in his ear. Yeah, that would be cool. It is extra work to support custom races for things that have visuals, because like outfits and whatnot, but it's possible.
As long as you're modifying the base asset, like if you're modifying the Hearthling as opposed to the outfit, like that should be fine. Like the scar and the nicks in the ears, like
Yeah, I suppose.
it should be separate.
So I know he has the goblin or half goblin trait.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they use a custom outfit. It looked fine to me, but
No, it's. I think it's a normal Hearthling. That's what I'm saying. Like as long as you're only touching the flesh and the body, it should be fine.
no, but it's like a short Hearthling, I believe.
No. I think he's using the straight Hearthling rig.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I'm
why
not
he's
sure.
a half goblin as opposed to a full goblin.
I see. Mona Lisa time. I believe
Why
this
are we
is
looking at the Mona Lisa?
because Wise linked it, and I can't not click a link. But that's actually made out of voxels that are scaled down, which is like, why would anyone do that? But you know, whatever rolls your boat. Let's
Is that
see.
a landmark? Is that what it is?
No, I think this predates landmarks by like years. I've seen the screenshot before a long time ago. Should have asked early, but who drew your tattoo? And if you're Raya, is Malley from NA? Malley does look like he's from NA.
A Northman?
That is a custom tattoo that you can order online. Just like upload an image, pay $2, and you'll get your temporary tattoo in a few weeks or something. But yeah, so no one drew it. Well, a machine drew it. He has the magnificent beard trait.
Me? This is not magnificent enough to be called magnificent.
Angela used to have magnificent beard
did?
for a bit. I don't know why he grew it out and why
Well, he wanted
shaved it.
longer hair, so he had to cut it so it would balance out.
For a moment, I was like, what? Right. I'm not sure if there is a convenient way to do this right now, but having some way to temporarily remove Hearthlings from town, yes, in fact, you can do that. There is a suspend and unsuspend methods that you can call on the town to suspend and unsuspend specific Hearthlings, and if you don't want to use code, there is the dispatch quest encounter type, which you can use to dispatch Hearthlings on quests, and they disappear from your town for a given length of time and then return. So that is already possible. Oh, and Bruno just said that. You've mentioned that there is already a way to give Heartling alternate paths from point A. So this is about transportation. I believe I've answered this somewhere. Yes, I have answered this part. Basically, you'll need to write your own AI stuff to